when President Muhammadu Buhari declared in August 2019 that the nation's land borders be partially shut against the importation of goods such as rice and others. He did so without any premonition of coronavirus pandemic that would soon come to seize the entire world in 2020. He only did to encourage local production, a dream towards 100% local sustenance. But after this policy was set in motion, I received a lead that smugglers are still having a field day despite restrictions. In mid-March 2020, I made a decision for an undercover expedition to track the very neck-deep activities of border communities of Ogun State in Nigeria and Towe Town in Benin Republic. This happens in two patterns, either through the hellhole adventure across the porous border terrains or by bribing a way across the various checkpoints manned by Nigerian securities. That for large-scale enterprise. Usually, a 30 kg bag of foreign rice is sold for an average price of 9,000 in Benin Republic, but it enters the Abeokuta market in Ogun State for at least 20,000, whereas its equivalent for locally produced rice for a price range of 25,000 to 30,000 naira. In the end, smugglers smile to the bank, but at the detriment of Nigeria's local economy. Whenever naira falls against the dollar rate, it takes a toll on the selling rate for foreign rice too. It fluctuates between 9,500 and 10,000 naira, or just a little more. That determines the eventual cost in the Nigerian market. This day, March 12th, coronavirus is the determinant for the price hike. In a sudden plot twist, Mohammed came up with a master plan, as this time around, he was able to buy just about 5 bags. Naira just fell to 420 per naira the very morning, and so he could not afford to buy too many bags at once. It isn't worth it to waste any money on the road, since it is just 5 bags I am now buying. Let's make a booking today and come back to carry them, Mohammed said, gradually unfolding how he intended to evade all securities without paying a dime. I played along in readiness to witness what his plan was. It was all about boycotting security checkpoints from Benin Republic to Ogun. We were soon on several bush paths. I still remember the major one in Ile-Komi. We were inside this very route for 3 hours until we landed in a hideout at Tata Community, seated in between NSCDC office and customs office at Ijoun. There, I met an evasive smugglers ringleader, Baba Sheun, a herbalist. His hut at Tata is so empowered that no one dares pick a grain of rice except he gives consent. Nobody wants to die. So, after hoarding 5 bags of rice for 3 days, it takes him less than 1 hour to disenchant the spell. Aside from his power room, he fortified the particular region for rice against the enemy, Nigerian customs. No man is allowed to utter a word while carrying bags of rice out as long as this pot of herbs remains with fire underneath. After the dramatic scene at Baba Sheun's hut, we would now be on our way to Igbogila from Idiori at Tata Town. But there's just one more hurdle to cross. To be sure there will be no problem before he gets to Igbogila, Mohammed had collided with police officer Sunday, said to be from his state of origin, Kogi. This was the scene where they both had a tete-a-tete on how he would help whistle blow in case he sees any patrol team of customs anytime we were traveling across the border communities. Now that we were on our way to Igbogila, a path that will lead to Abeokuta, Ogun State's capital city, Mohammed hops down on the bike at the police checkpoint in Iguanlade to squeeze bribe into his hand. The next statement I heard from the officer was like, Parade call. Go, go, he says to us all. The checkpoint is just at the market in front of Iguanladi, and by the very left was a bush path leading to Igbogila. Just like Ile Kumi to Idiori, this is just another route smugglers traverse to go unnoticed by Nigerian customs. Alas, 1,000 naira bribe was all it cost to access this road. But are the Nigerian police actually exempted from duty of arresting these smugglers too? Listen to what the former Comptroller General of Nigerian Customs Service, Haman Bello, had to say about that.
I say it is, if the National Assembly says smuggling is still going on, then it's a failure on Nigerian security agencies. Because all the agencies in this country, the only agency that I will say is not at the border, maybe the Nigeria Prison Service or the correctional centers, as it's called today. They are the only agencies that are not in the border. All the other agencies of government are in the border. And if smuggling is still going on, then they are also conniving. And it's a failure on their own part.
He hoards smuggled rice in his house, but he has a strict policy. No stranger follows him on his trip to Abeokuta, not even Muhammad, his customer. Between Igbogila and Abeokuta, there are at least 4 popular towns, namely Imasai, Ibese, Iboro, Joga, Orile, situated along that route. All these towns have one checkpoint each, manned by either of the operatives of the National Drill Patrol Team in Nigerian Customs, Nigerian Police, or Importers Association of Nigeria, IMAN. More so, a customs officer had just been killed in a violent engagement between their patrol team and smugglers at Imasai a weekend before. All of these should be an odd reality for a foreign rice transporter, but not for Kazim Ololadi. How he could manage to smuggle the 5 bags of smuggled foreign rice from his house to Abeokuta is my only black box I want to crack open. So I waited at Itaoshin in Abeokuta, hoping to hear the news that the bags of rice were impounded. That never happened. He gallantly arrives with smuggled rice in Abeokuta market before preparing for another trip. The ex-boss of NCS submitted that
no nation that stopped smuggling entirely, completely, no nation, but they can minimize it. Let me also say this one. I would blame the customs service for one thing, and that thing is that they don't prosecute those that are caught in the smuggling process. And as long as you don't prosecute, you seize the goods and you allow the defender to go away. If you don't prosecute them, they will come back again tomorrow and try their luck. So the custom has to reform its legal department and start prosecuting offenders. Section 171 of the SEMA, that is the custom law, gives the customs the priority of proceedings in court. Why should they not take advantage of this? So as long as they don't prosecute, they don't punish those that are involved in this smuggling, then it will continue because the market is there.
From my undercover voyage, it is now clear that more resources need to be deployed for the use of Nigerian customs in order to adequately monitor the several routes in and out of Ogun State. On the other hand, until NCS is legally empowered to prosecute any accomplice in smuggling, including security operatives and the local residents in border communities, smuggling would continue to thrive.